Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, your go-to place this winter for everything you need to make sure your home or business is free and clear of snow and ice. They are Long Island's largest provider of rock salt. They also have all the other great snow melt and ice melt products out there like Mag Ice Pellets and Flakes and Pellido, which is considered the best. And, of course, you might need a new snowblower, or maybe you just need general supplies in case your power goes out and you want to be ready for all of this. So you can head over to Omni True Value Hardware because they are getting ready. 631-756-1125. The best prices anywhere. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. So we've got a nice weather day here as temperatures move up through the 40s. It's mostly sunny across much of the Northeast. We have a little bit of patchy cloudiness rolling through early this afternoon, but not much really to worry about. It's where you go down across the south where we have a lot of cloud cover, some overrunning going on, and that moisture is building slowly and streaming eastward. We also have clouds coming in across the northern plains and into the Great Lakes, and this is going to be our next weather system for tomorrow. Probably will be starting a period of what I often refer to as gloom and doom, where it just doesn't necessarily rain all the time, but the rest of the time when it's not raining, it's just cloudy. You can see how quiet the radars are across the Northeast, but you head down into Georgia, South Carolina, back across northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, southern Tennessee. It's raining, and we even have some patches of moderate rain going on. A little bit of snow up in the northern plains and in parts of the Great Lakes. No issue here, of course, as we are still too warm in spite of the blocking pattern that's developing. The Pacific is not in a mode that is favorable to spread cold air out across the eastern part of the United States, at least not for the time being. Now, in terms of rainfall, as we look ahead to the next 7 days, it looks like we're going to have it on the order of about, say, 3/4 of an inch to maybe an inch, inch and a quarter of precip. I think the bulk of this is probably going to come tomorrow into Wednesday as this frontal system goes by. Meantime, you can see the heavier rains being generated from Arkansas, east across Tennessee and Kentucky, coming into northern Alabama, also coming into parts of western North Carolina and western Virginia on the order of an inch and a half to, in some places, maybe as much as 3 to 4 inches. And, of course, we see heavy precip continuing up and down the west coast of the United States. And as for snow probability over the next 72 hours, we are looking at nothing really nothing at all in the eastern part of the U.S. You can see a little bit of snow way up in the northern Great Lakes. Then you start getting into it in the northern plains and back through the northern Rockies, also down in western Colorado, Utah, southern Nevada, the Sierra Nevadas in California, and the Cascades in Washington State. Anywhere, again, this is the probability of at least 2 inches. If we want to just jump over to a bigger amount, as far as 8+ is concerned, that's pretty much confined to western Colorado, where we've got some probabilities of 50% or higher, and also in the Sierra Nevadas. And in the long range, as far as the possibility of some snow, we have WPC indicating for an area in Pennsylvania, central and western Maryland, down into eastern West Virginia, northwestern Virginia, and also southern New York, back to northeastern Ohio, a 10 to 30% probability of at least 1/4 of an inch of snow and sleet equivalent. This is not a big deal. I think this is being generated by what some models are showing for Friday, for the end of the week, and we'll get to those. I'm going to use the Canadian model today because with this blocking pattern, it's really tough to figure out how the long range is going to play out. There's so much going on that we really don't have a good handle on features as they come eastward, whether they're going to amplify, whether something is going to come down in the northern part of the jet stream and cause it to amplify even further. So we continue to expect a lot of model volatility and a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the long range. And one of the things, I want to just go back on the satellite here, there is way out in the Atlantic, you can't really see it, that's not really doing very much, to be quite honest, with respect to clouds and precip here. But there is a tropical upper low. I wouldn't even call it a tropical low. It's probably an upper low. And if you look at the clouds on the lower right, they're going from north to south. And what that's doing is basically enhancing the ridge that is that's building to the northwest of there. And that low is going to stay out there for a while. So we're going to continue to have great weather for the rest of the day. That high out east of Nova Scotia goes further out. You can see the lower pressures on the lower right just sitting there. And meanwhile, this next low, because it can't really move east, so it goes northeast. And the cold front to the west is the alleyway. So we get into some rain or showers tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night into Wednesday. The front is very slow moving. It does come through. And we've got a cold high later this week that will move in for Thursday. Maybe Thursday we'll see some improvement. Maybe perhaps we could get into a little bit of sun on Thursday, especially as you go north up into upstate New York and New England. Now here comes the next low moving out for Friday. The high to the north is trying to build down. There's some colder air that's trying to bleed southward. It's possible that it could bleed far enough south that we could see a little bit of snow in that area that was indicated by WPC for Friday night into Saturday morning. And you see it there. It really doesn't amount to too much of anything. Otherwise, we'll just probably turn colder starting on Thursday, and particularly Friday into Saturday. We'll probably feel kind of raw and dismal whether we have any precipitation or not. And then longer term, there could be another low coming out over the weekend and into early next week with a cold rain, and yet another weather system coming in from the west. And this is where we start to get into more and more uncertainty in terms of what's going to be going on. The block, is it going to keep it from moving northward and force it take a track further south, or is the block going to weaken enough that will take a track further to the west? These are all questions that will attempt to answer and probably not be all that successful, to be quite honest, tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 Eastern Time. Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware. 6317-561-1125 is the telephone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. So we'll leave you with this. And again, Joe and Joe Weather Show tonight is at 7:35 Eastern Time. We will hope to see you then.